Yeah. Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Pankaj Bharadia from Texas Instruments. I work in Android team in Texas Instruments. So today I'm going to introduce you to BeagleBone accessory development kit. So in this talk, I'll mainly cover what is Android Open Accessory. Then I'll introduce you to BeagleBone accessory development kit, and I'll give you some guidelines how to develop your own accessory. So I'll not be covering how to write accessory application for your phone. I'll be mainly focusing on accessory side. Okay, with that I'll start. So how many of you know Android accessory standard? Okay, how many of you know BeagleBone? Okay. So with Android 3.1, Android platform introduced an open accessory support which allows external USB devices to communicate with Android powered device. So Android USB accessory must adhere to Android Open Accessory Protocol and are specifically designed to communicate and interact with Android powered device only. So as you know, majority of phones and tablets are using Android today. So this Android Open Accessory standard plays a vital link between the smartphone, tablets and embedded system devices which we are using in our daily life. So with that, what can be an Android accessory? Any guesses?
Bluetooth music.
Sorry?
Keyboard.
No. Okay. So basically there are two connectivity options are available. Mainly Android accessory can communicate using USB or Bluetooth. So in this talk I will be mainly focusing on USB part only. So Android accessory examples. Android accessory can be your audio docking station, or it can be a pressure monitoring, personal medical testing device. For example, pressure monitoring system, blood pressure monitoring system, wherein you can connect that accessory to your phone and your phone will actually display your blood pressure data. Or it can be a ECG machine, and wherein you can connect it to your phone and phone will actually monitor ECG. Or it can be a personal weather station where it will give humidity, temperature and atmospheric conditions on your device. Or it can be an exercise machine. I will show you one demo video for this. So this video is taken from Google Keynote Day 2011. So let's just start it.
This is an exercise by Make Life Fitness, and it's compatible with Android Open Accessory. Anand's going to get ready for a workout on it. First, put on his headband. Now, most importantly, he's got his Android phone. Now he's going to dress for his workout. People go crazy for his legs. All right. Now watch what happens when he plugs the phone into the mic. It recognizes the accessory.
See, when accessory is connected, that exercise machine is connected to phone, it actually recognizes it and it will launch one menu wherein it will show from where to download that app if app is not present to communicate with accessory, or it will directly launch an app if it is present in your phone.
And it shows an application that knows how to talk to it. If the phone didn't already have a compatible app, the bike would just send the user to the app in the Android market to download it. This is really cool. If a user buys an accessory that needs an app, when they connect the phone to the accessory, it just takes them where they need to go to get that app. Okay, so Anand's now going to launch Cardio Quest. And then the exercise bike actually recognizes that it's been connected to the Android phone. He's going to select an easy workout.
So he is controlling this accessory using phone.
Going to have the bike control the game he's going to play. Now see, as he pedals faster, he moves the Android guy up. He pedals slower, he moves the Android guy down. Good, off fast. Oh, 1 calorie, 1 calorie. You do that 1,000 more times, and you can have one of those ice cream sandwiches at the after party.
Yeah. Okay, that's the power of accessory. So Android accessory can be any external device which adds functionality to Android.
Think about those legs.
So with that, what is an open accessory? It's a simple USB protocol for communication between peripheral and Android devices. So when USB accessory is connected to phone, it will act as a USB host and phone will act as a USB device. And it communicates using bidirectional communication over two bulk endpoints, two USB bulk endpoints. So in order to communicate application accessory with Android powered device, that is your phone or tablet, first it has to establish connection using Android Open Accessory Protocol. Only after that you can communicate with your Android application using your own custom protocol. So I'll go through that. So these are the steps performed by accessory to detect Android phone in accessory mode and to launch an app. So first, accessory has to wait and detect for connected devices. So it will wait and detect connected devices. After that, it has to determine whether device supports accessory mode or not. Not all devices will support accessory mode because it has introduced after 3.1. Before that, device will not support accessory mode. So it will detect whether device support accessory mode or not. Then it will attempt to start device in accessory mode if needed. So by default, your phone will not be in accessory mode. So accessory will trigger some command to phone to start it in accessory mode. So once this is done, it will establish connection with the phone using two USB bulk endpoints. So I'll go through that. So these are the handshakes performed by the accessory with phone to make it work as an accessory. So Google has introduced 3 custom commands like get protocol, send a string and start command for USB control transfer. Using this transfer, the accessory will actually send some information and negotiate with your Android phone. So accessory will first send get protocol command to get accessory protocol version. If a phone replies back with proper version, then phone supports accessory mode. Otherwise, it doesn't support. Then after that, it will send some manufacturer string, model, description, version and serial number and URI string data to phone. Using this information only, phone will know that from where to I have to download application using this URI string. And using this manufacturer, model, description combination, it will launch an app for your particular accessory. So after that, phone will issue a start command to start device in phone in accessory mode. So once this has been done, the phone your Android phone will renumerate itself and in accessory mode and will launch an app. So to detect whether the device is in accessory mode or not, the USB vendor ID should be 18D1 and product ID should be this 2D00 or 2D01. If this is the case, then your phone is in accessory mode. Then after that, the accessory will read configuration descriptor and it will check for bulk-in and endpoints of USB to communicate with the Android powered device. So after doing these steps, and the accessory communication is established and it is ready for communication with your Android phone. So this is the overall block diagram from Android point of view for accessory framework. So this accessory gadget is mainly responsible for communicating with your Android accessory. So this USB device manager is actually GNI layer which directly talks with accessory gadget driver. So this USB service here in application framework is mainly responsible for detecting accessory. All logic has been written here in this framework USB service. So it will detect an accessory and it will provide some API to write accessory application. Open accessory, open read-write descriptors and write using and read using that. So I will not talk about how to write applications as such. So I will mainly focus on how you can develop your own accessory using BeagleBone as an example. So I will introduce you to BeagleBone accessory development kit now. So this is the accessory development kit which you can use to innovate, which will give you freedom to innovate and develop your own accessories. So BeagleBone is basic. So this is the BeagleBone. It is a basically open source board. It's basically a board based on TI's AM335X platform. It has a Cortex 8 processor which can go up to 720 MHz and it has inbuilt 3D acceleration core. So and it has onboard USB, Ethernet, MMC card and these expansion connectors and a lot of IO peripherals to play with. Virtually you can connect any kind of sensor to this. All IO peripherals are exposed here. So you can interface any other device or peripheral with this on this expansion connector. So when this BeagleBone is connected to Android phone, the BeagleBone is act as a USB host and the phone will act as a USB device. So it can communicate using Android. The BeagleBone will communicate using Android USB accessory protocol. So to develop this accessory kit, we have used Starterware software package as a base software platform for development. So what is this Starterware package? It is basically a software package which is purely written in C for non-OS platform support for TI, ARM9 and Cortex-8 based devices. So this Starterware can be used standalone or it can be used with RTOS, or it has lot of example applications to demonstrate the capability of each peripheral. If you want to develop an accessory and which uses some I2C or SPI protocol, then you can look at these examples to write your own accessory. And it has support for graphics and USB stack with example applications. Full API documentation using Deoxygen based. So you can refer to documentation and start writing your accessory. And it has support for this GCC from command line development. You can use TI Code Composer Studio for development, or you can use IR Embedded Workbench for development. So there are 3 options available, and obviously it is free and royalty free use for TI devices. So this complete platform is free and it will be open source on our community website. So you can utilize that and you can start developing your accessory. So this is the complete software architecture of Starterware. So actually it has got device abstraction layer which will abstract these lower level peripherals like UART, I2C, SPI, Ethernet, all hardware peripherals. Then it has initial system configuration code module wherein it will initialize your CPU and other stuffs, and it will make a system ready for your accessory applications basically. And it has middle layer libraries which has USB stack and then graphics stack and other libraries. So what we have done is we have developed an accessory class driver on top of this USB host library. So this accessory class driver will take care of USB accessory communication protocol, and it will provide some API to write your own accessory. I'll go through those APIs. So what is the responsibility of host controller driver here? So it handles all the details necessary to discover and enumerate USB device. It only performs enumeration and it relies on accessory class driver to make other process. So in order, the application has to register this accessory class driver with the host controller. I'll go through that in subsequent slides so that it can handle enumeration events. So accessory class driver will perform these steps basically. So this wait part will be done by a host controller driver itself. The accessory class driver will determine whether the device supports accessory mode or not. Then it will attempt to start device in accessory mode, and it will establish communication with the device if device supports accessory mode. And then finally it provides accessory read and write APIs to communicate with your Android powered device. And it will give some notification about whether you have connected an USB accessory or you have connected an Android powered device which support accessory, or whether you have connected some other device or devices is disconnected. Which means when you connect any other device to this accessory, it will give an event that unknown device is connected. So I'll go through this in subsequent slides. So to write your own accessory application, to develop your own accessory, you have to follow this. Basically, you have to access this host controller class driver and accessory class driver. So from accessory application, what you have to do is you have to just register accessory class so that all enumeration events can be passed to your accessory, passed to your class driver and your application, and then you have to initialize host controller stack. There are APIs available for that, and then after that you have to register a callback to accessory driver so that once accessory detects the Android powered device is connected and connection is established, it can actually notify you whether device is connected, disconnected, or unknown device is connected. So, and then you can use the read and write API to write your own accessory application. So in simple, just you have to do some initialization and you have to register a callback. REST protocol implementation, negotiation, everything will be handled by this lower layer framework. So this is the BeagleBone accessory application flow. So from main, you have to actually USB register drivers. Then you have to actually register your accessory class driver with host controller driver here. Then you can use you have to register this ACC callback so that all notification events can be passed to your application. And after that, once this callback connected event has come, you can actually loop in and you can read and write using accessory API here in a while loop. So that using this API, you can actually communicate with Android powered device. So from application's point of view, you have to just register your accessory class driver, and once you get a connected callback, you have to just use read and write API to write your own accessory application. So this is the code snippet shown here. For development, this is the accessory class driver instance, a structured USB accessory class driver structure. You have to declare that in your main file, and you have to declare some USB state and some instance variable globally. Then after that, this is the callback you have to implement, wherein the load layer will pass once accessory is connected, disconnected, or unknown device is connected, it will invoke this callback with these events. Actually, USB event connected or disconnected or unknown device is connected. Like that, it will pass 3 events. So you can maintain a state, whether device is connected or state unknown device. You can maintain state using state variable. And after that, this is the main flow. Once that state, USB state shown in last slide here, once it is connected or in init state, actually you can just check for state and you can state accessory connected. In this, you can write your custom protocol implementation using accessory read and write API to communicate with your Android powered device. So I will show you one video which shows the capability of this. So this is the video to demonstrate actually the capability of bidirectional communication. This board is acting as an accessory and it is connected over USB to this phone. So let's see. It will, once device is connected, it will automatically launch an app. So the here intent is to show the from these buttons you can control LEDs of this BeagleBone here, and actually it will display RTC clock of this device here. So it shows bidirectional read and write communication, shows the capability of APIs. So it shows the RTC clock synchronizing from that board. So it shows two-way communication. Clock data is sent from accessory and control data is sent from it. So hardware customization example. So you can actually use this. You can use existing hardware Android platform to develop your own accessories or own product. For example, say you have to develop a weather station, and for that, if you start from scratch, you have to develop full hardware, right? You have to interface everything up. You can actually develop one accessory with some sensors, which will give some sensor data, and you can connect it to your Android powered device, so that the Android system and this kit will work as a weather station. So actually you need not design your complete system. You can actually use and leverage existing Android platforms, and you can design your own products. So, and you can get solutions to market faster. So for further details about starter package, you can refer to processorwiki.com/index.php/starterware. The complete documentation about this accessory development guide is is written here, BeagleBone ADK guide. So it will have all details about how to download this kit software, then how to start developing with this. And for Android USB accessory API and how to write Android application, you can refer to these two slides. Google already has provided a lot of documentation on how to write your own applications, accessory applications. So that's it from my side. Any questions?
I've seen people using BeagleBone as standalone systems on Android, putting Android inside it and doing everything.
Yeah.
So why you want to limit this as an accessory only?
No, the intent is you can use. So his question is BeagleBone can be used as a standalone Android system, right?
Correct.
So why we are using this bone as an accessory, right? So actually, you can use same board for developing your accessory. For phone, you need a lot of peripherals. You can remove some of the peripherals and you can optimize your cost of an accessory. Right? If you don't need MMC or USB or other stuffs, Ethernet, you can remove those things. And this processor comes in different speeds. So you can take 250 megahertz for your requirement, or you can take 720 megahertz for your requirement. So by that way, your cost will get reduced.
But it's always Cortex-A.
Yeah, it's always Cortex-A. So we'll support ARM9 as well. There is AM1808 board, so it has ARM9. So same thing can be easily ported on that as well.
You don't really need Cortex-A.
Yeah, that depends upon your accessory type actually. So if you are targeting for a very high-end accessory, then it is the best choice. No, your Android phone after ICS and Jelly Beans, this will support accessory mode. No, yeah, exactly. So actually, by default, your phone will not provide that vendor ID or product ID. So when accessory triggers that start accessory command, the device, your phone will remunerate with that vendor ID and PID internally.
And we are saying this just to support the for your phone.
No, not. That is standard from Google. So how? Sorry.
No, I mean, I have a platform which I want to support. I have a platform which I want to support accessory class. So for that, why do I need to register myself with the Google vendor ID?
No, you need not register.
Okay.
Actually, for your device, Android device to work as an Android accessory powered device, you have to have that vendor ID and PID. So by default, you will not have that vendor ID and PID. You will have your own custom VID, PID. But when device issues that start accessory command, the accessory gadget driver itself remunerate with that VID and PID for that particular time and mode. That is a standard from Google.
Actually, this particular issue we are facing always, because if you are taking a normal device, you have to jailbreak that and make the vendor ID and PID different, or make your system rooted, right?
No.
Not required.
Not required at all. All phones will follow that standard and it will support that Google VID and PID when it is in accessory mode. By default, it will have its own VID PID, but when it is in accessory mode, it will support that. Yeah.
You said that this BeagleBone is having an Ethernet port.
Yeah.
So can we connect it to a wireless router and do this accessory transactions over wireless network from the Android mobile?
Yeah, that will not follow the accessory protocol. That will be some kind of different accessory, right? So as per Google, you have to use USB or Bluetooth because that framework is already there in Android open source code.
So the use case is not clear. I mean, for the Bluetooth part, right? You already would have Bluetooth protocol implemented on an accessory, and your device would already have Bluetooth profile supported. Then why do you require this accessory class in between? It's not clear.
No, actually, what will happen is there should be one standard, right?
I mean, you already have the standard profiles supported.
No, for that you have to write your complete thing. Means to write
No, I mean, like, let's assume you want to have a basic playback or a monitoring part to the ECG monitoring, let's say. There are already profiles supported in Bluetooth which support these
Yeah,
characteristics.
profiles are supported, but to negotiate and to know that this is the Android powered device, this is the accessory.
Yeah, I mean, that's all supported in the profile, so it's already available as such, for at least for the Bluetooth part.
No, profile is different, but accessory can perform some other functions as well, as I told you. Right? The actually accessory, Bluetooth accessory also uses this SPP profile. But on top of that, they have developed a negotiation protocol, which will be common across all Android powered devices, phones, tablets. So using that, you have to first negotiate, and then you can use SPP protocol to communicate with Android device.
Okay.
So if you were to suppose connect a USB keyboard which suppose works on the computer well, right? Suppose you convert it to a micro USB and then you want to make that work. How does that work?
No.
That doesn't have any external power
No,
supply.
that is not accessory device. That is HID, right? That will be working in a USB device mode. In that case, your phone will be working in a host mode. Here, accessory will work in a USB host mode.
Get this thing working in that host mode is a specific version of Android is required.
No. No. All these Android powered devices will have USB device port only. It will not have USB host port. Now, new Jelly Bean devices are coming with OTG port.
So if you want to include something like that, you need.
So HID anyway, on this, I think it supports device mode. The device which supports host mode, you can easily connect your keyboard or mouse. So that will not follow accessory standard. That will follow some other standard. HID.
Talking about other I mean, is this accessory protocol? I mean, later for iPhones and other devices, is it following any open standards or something like that, or just purely by Google?
No, this is acquired by Google only. iPhone standard is totally different.
Totally, but it has a standard. So suppose you want to make something and make it work everywhere and all. Then
No.
how do you go about it? Right now you can't do it.
Right now, there is no.
Okay.
One more question.
So Arduino is basically microcontroller based. So this is microprocessor based. So this can be targeted for mid-end and high-end accessories. That can be targeted for low-end accessories.
But this
Low
will
and
be
middle.
acting as an accessory, right? So it will be acting as an accessory, right? So
Yeah.
we need not having our exact arm usage basically.
No, that's what I told you. Means it depends upon your need. If you just want to monitor some sensors and send some data, you can use microcontroller based processor. And if you want to do some exercise machine kind of stuff or high-end stuff, then you need some good processor.
Thanks, sir. Thanks.
Thank you.